I've filmed and uploaded several videos in which I venture out into the bush and search for local wildlife. This time, however, it's a little bit different. Instead of the usual day trips, I headed out at night to see what sorts of animals emerge under the cover of darkness. Heteropoda jugulans, definitely not a species we've seen before. So this individual is quite sizable. It's probably an adult female. I'll put my hand right next to her. She's a midget compared to some of the other huntsmen I've kept, but for Heteropoda jugulans, she is quite a decent size. Here is another Heteropoda. Now, and it's just run. Is it? Oh no, there we go. Haha, you tried to hide, but you couldn't. So here's another Heteropoda jugulans, extremely common species around this area. And this structure here, this rock wall with all these little cracks in it, is pretty much perfect habitat for this species. I will admit this species is so common that my reaction to seeing one of these is usually just, yeah, spider. But I can't help but look at them nonetheless. Heteropoda jugulans, or huntsmen in general, are quite a familiar face on my bushwalks. But there were other spiders that I am not quite so well acquainted with. Oh, and here I was not expecting to see this. Ah! Zoom. Focus. This is oh, wow. This is Deinopis, called... Why are you reacting like that? Okay, so this is Deinopis, commonly known as the ogre-faced spider or the net-casting spider. Now, the spider at the moment is in its typical hunting position, and I think those strange movements that it did before were actually lunges. It thought there was prey, but of course there wasn't, it was me. And that silken square there is its net. And if an insect or some other small animal crawls beneath it, the spider will in a split second cast it on top of its prey. It's an incredibly unique and effective method of hunting, and I'm honestly overjoyed to be finding one of these. Oh, I don't believe it, we got another Deinopis here. And my camera is struggling to focus again. Yeah, so this is fun. Come on. There we go. Sort of. Not really. This one actually looks somewhat larger and definitely more well-fed than the previous one. And I also found the last one about 5 minutes ago, so I don't know, I got some pretty high hopes for the rest of the night. Now, during the day, these spiders are extremely cryptic and hard to notice. Those legs, when folded up in that long, thin body, make this spider resemble a twig or a blade of grass, which makes them extremely difficult to discern from amongst the leaf litter. But now, at night, when they're active and hunting, that little net stands out a lot, especially when you shine a light on it. Right here is the very well camouflaged burrow entrance of a Euoplos species, which are large trapdoor spiders, very bulky spiders too. Oh, well, I think that spider is not going to show herself, so, goodbye. While that individual may have been too shy to show her fat ass in public, I did thankfully come across another one that was a lot more willing to come out. And here we have a Euoplos outside of her burrow in her full glory, and my goodness, is she an incredibly impressive spider, and my goodness are my knees very, very sore from kneeling on this place. Now, Euoplos is a member of the family Idiopidae, which include most of the more familiar trapdoor spiders here in Australia. And this particular genus is fairly common around southeastern Queensland, but they're not often seen, and that's pretty easy to understand when you look at how cryptic those burrows are. And I'll be completely honest, I had no clue that they were as abundant as it seems they are. This is the first time I've been out at night and the first time I've really paid attention to trapdoors. And wow, what an incredible spider. Now, in spite of their resemblance to funnel webs, both in terms of appearance and defensiveness, these spiders are not considered to be medically significant. They do have large fangs, so the mechanical damage might cause some pain, and while they are quite prone to threat posing when evicted from their burrows, they are very timid and passive when they're in their burrows. Alright, so she's calmed down now and I've actually got her on my hand. And even a spider that is quite defensive and was threat posing pretty vigorously only a minute or so ago, still won't just bite the surface it's crawling on. These are not animals that are out there to get humans, and as long as you're gentle with them, you don't really have anything to fear from these guys. The problem is she doesn't seem to be all that keen on getting off at the moment. I mean, I'm grateful that she took a liking to me, but now it's getting a little bit too far. Come on, my lady. I do not know what that lighting effect on my camera is like. Oh, come on. Just get back on the ground. There we go. Right, and now time to bid this beautiful little beastie a fond farewell. Come on. Your home is right there. Oh, the lid just shut. Rejected by your own house. Ah, there we go. Here is possibly the biggest Deinopis I've seen so far, and by the looks of it, she's still spinning her web, or at least was until I interrupted her. Sorry. I know I called it a she, but on second thought, this appears to be a male. There's a pair of swollen pedipalps right at the tip there. So that's a pretty telltale sign, and honestly, I would just assume based on size alone that this would have been female, but I guess I was proven wrong. Well, this is quite the highlight. Here we have a juvenile Morelia spilota, carpet python, which is probably one of the more common snakes we have in this area. I saw a much larger individual not far from here about a couple weeks ago. This one's a fair bit smaller, but nevertheless an absolute pleasure to find. Go. Oh, well, I did it. Oh, right. Oh, wow, that's bright. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Yeah. No, it's all good, it's all good. But yeah, so I hadn't actually found much for a fair while, so this was a really pleasant surprise. I'm honestly overjoyed by this. So like I said before, juvenile Morelia spilota, the carpet python. These are fairly large snakes, not especially huge, but they will get to maybe a couple meters long or so. And the patterning on these is honestly really quite stunning. And it's very useful for keeping them camouflaged, especially here in this kind of environment where there's a lot of leaf litter and, there's a lot of leaf litter. It serves as what's known as a disruptive coloration, which basically breaks up the animal's shape, which makes it a lot harder to discern its outline against the backdrop. And that's especially important for a small individual like this, but of course once they're adults, they don't really have all that much to worry about. Hello? Now I used to have a pet snake. This was way before my YouTube days, so it's not going to be on my channel anywhere. And it was a Stimson's python about as big as this individual, so honestly finding this guy is a bit of a trip down memory lane. It's the first time I've held a snake in years. My oh my, aren't you absolutely beautiful. It took me a little bit of hesitation to pick it up. Like I said, I haven't held a snake in a long time. But now that it's on my hand and it knows I'm not a threat, it's calmed down a lot. Okay, so honestly, I don't really care if I don't find anything else tonight, because this little fellow was one hell of a highlight, and of course now I'm going to let it go on its merry way. And wow. Well, this trip was absolutely worth it, and I don't care what else happens. Unless I get killed or something, then it won't be worth it. And that just about wraps it up. Now, as you could probably tell, I didn't come into it with much planning at all. It was very much a on-the-spot kind of thing. But it was a great first taste of what a night walk can be like, and I really hope I can get more of these done in the not-so-distant future. If you enjoy these field trip videos, then feel free to check out this playlist, which shows all the ones I've done so far. And don't forget to subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. That is it from me, and I will see you again very soon.